Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. This is your host, Matty Farquharson, the business motivator. And this is a new show on the channel. It's called Mo for Your Mondays. And this is my co host, MONEIFIA Maitland. What's up?
Nothing much. I'm just really glad and honored to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here with you guys today and start kicking off this new series. I am a business analyst and a senior consultant working with a private CPA and consulting firm here in the States. And I'm just really excited to kick this program off and get to share with you some awesome experiences and some knowledge.
All right, awesome. As you have just heard, she is not from around here, so you know, the show has officially gone international. Yes.
Yes, it has.
We are going to start off a series today called Performance and Productivity, the Balancing Act. And for this particular episode, we're going to look at working a 9 to 5 and a 5 to 9. In other words, working around the clock. And we're going to look at some ways in which, you can manage this kind of lifestyle. So, yes, we're going to have a great discussion. So, just sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Exactly. And whether you do it to supplement your main source of income, gain additional work experience, or simply just following your passions and dreams, doing freelance work does come with its fair share of baggage and challenges. But I'm here to tell you today that you can discover new ways where you can manage that and maximize your typical workday and workload. So, in this episode, we will uncover some of the main issues associated with working for yourself and for a company simultaneously, and how you can rise above those challenges. So, we're going to discuss how you can champion your overall performance as a key player in both of those arenas. So,
All
stay
right.
tuned.
Awesome stuff. Awesome. So yes, we have a power-packed episode for you today. Um, I just want you to explain a bit more about what you do. You say you're a business analyst, right?
Mhm.
Can you just expound on that a bit more?
It's always interesting when people ask me what do I do, and I have to tell them it's legal. It has nothing to do with illegal activities. Uh, because when I tell people what I do, they just look at me blankly, and it's like, oh, when you tell somebody, oh, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, they can automatically picture what you do. But just to keep it a little uh, simple. Basically, I work as a business analyst, and the work that I do is a lot of it deals with like doing research and dealing with a lot of data and information, or sometimes policies. And the consultative side of that role is to take that information, on the projects that we're working on, and then provide that to the client in a in a solution way. So either we're helping them transition from a system that they're trying to get rid of, or they're changing some rules or some guidelines in their organization or at their agency. So basically we just do my team, we deal with like the data and the policy consulting side of things. So just to kind of give you an idea of what I do. And yeah, this is a kind of job that you can do rather globally, depending on the company that you're working with. We do work with a lot of individuals that work in India, from India, and a lot of the work that we're doing right now as a company, they're branching out to the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, and they do some of this work too in Alaska. So while that's not like so international, the work that is done can be internationally.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And I hope those who are listening has a better understanding about what people like Monifia and I do, because that's what we do. This 9 to 5, 5 to 9 life, working around the
Yes.
clock. You know, I remember talking to Tyrone, episode 2 of the Business Motivation podcast. He practices that lifestyle, and he was saying, it can be stressful, but you have to learn how to, manage your time and, invest into the side hustle and stuff like that. If you want to know more about what he said, you can check out that episode. Link will be in the description. But you said you also practice this lifestyle. So please tell us, like, how do you handle it? Just give us a small, synopsis explaining how you handle
Yeah, you make it sound like a religion. But in a small sense, it kind of is, right? So in my experience, I don't necessarily, I haven't started a business per se, but I have worked as a freelancer. In some ways, one one experience that I had was I was working for this company called Appen, and they actually hire people globally to either be survey analysts or data analysts. And essentially, what you do is you just you log in and you just do the work that they assign you. So I have worked, on the side while I was working at my job, but I've also done more volunteer type work
Okay.
that is still professional experience, but I'm doing it, I'm just volunteering my time and just giving back to the community or giving back to a nonprofit organization that is giving back to the community. Um, and how I handle it, how I deal with it is, I treat it like a job. There's a time when I clock in and do the work and check in, and there's a time when I clock out and leave. And so that I can also enjoy whatever social life I can scrounge together. But also have the time and the mental capability for other things that I have to do. So it's just like, for me, it's setting up those boundaries and setting a set schedule to work on those different things.
All right. And we're gonna get into, more details on how you can, you know, set up your schedule and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
um I just have to say one thing about what she said. The main theme about this is balance. You have to find balance. Do not burn
Yes.
yourself out, because there's
Yes.
something called diminishing returns. If you start burning yourself out, you'll become less and less productive.
Yes. And
Because
burnout is real. It is
right,
real. I've experienced it.
right, and there's a difference between being busy and being productive. I
Yes.
discussed that in a video on the channel. You can check that out. Link will be in the description. So this thing sounds quite stressful. Burnout can happen, all that stuff. I have to find balance. So why should people practice this lifestyle? Why should people do this? You know? Because people might be thinking, this just sound like a body for stress, man. Like, why should I do it? Why do you do it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it can be stressful if you're not managing it properly. And that's one of the things that we're talking about today is, finding that balance in how you manage your performance to a point where you can manage it, be productive, but not cause yourself to be burnt out and still maintain that momentum, that, motivation that you need all through the process to continue to be your best self, your best either business leader or independent consultant or whatever you are, but to be your best self in all those different facets and areas.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. And of course, we'll be getting into more detail about that. So, so you said that balance can be found and all that stuff. But let us look at, you know, the costs and the benefits of living this kind of lifestyle. Because when it comes down to life in general, but especially the business world,
Mm-hmm.
risk plays a huge part in it. And I think
Yes.
every business that you enter into, there's gonna be risk. Even even startups that cost nothing to start up, there is still some risk involved. And
Still
of
some
course,
risk.
it's just different grades of risk, different, measurements of risk depending on what you're gonna get into. So there are always gonna be pros and cons of doing anything. So we're just gonna run through the pros and cons of living this working around the clock lifestyle.
All right. So
Okay, wait,
what I
we're
did
gonna
at
start with let's just start with the cons first.
oh, okay. All right. I was getting really excited. So I had to break this down because Matthew earlier he talked about the risks, and there are so many risks involved. Even there are many, but don't let that scare you. But let's go through some cons. So I broke it down into cons that affect you individually and cons that are other factors, right? So some of the cons of starting your own business on the or side hustle or freelance work is that you kind of absorb um, ultimate responsibility for whatever you're branching out to do. And
Wait, can I
each one of
add
these.
something to that? Can I add something to that?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, ultimate responsibility. So basically, a simpler way to put it is basically once you stop working, you also stop making money once you stop working. So you basically have to just continuously, go along doing this, and you need to have a special sense of determination not to continue. All right, go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, yeah. So, and ultimate responsibility too is, you know, so that's one perspective of it. Ultimate responsibility again could also mean, you're absorbing all the fine, like you personally, you have to set your schedule, you have to do, so you don't have somebody telling you, oh, you need to show up at this time and you're gonna leave so you have that full responsibility. You're taking on everything that goes into this package onto yourself, onto your person. So another con is and I spoke with a friend. She's working as a nurse, but she's also doing a pop-up bakery store and a photography store with her husband. And one of the things that she told me is, you want to save and have money. You want to have, so one of the cons, is having starting capital, having something to work with. And that can actually make a lot of people not want to pursue it because you don't have the money or you don't have the way to obtain the money. So that's a con that can hinder people from continuing to go into this, field. Decreased motivation. You personally might just over time you're like, Kambada, and you just give up and you're like, oh wow, I was gonna do that, but it never actually happened. So that's a thing. You can be burnt out before you even begin.
Right.
So
And this is what this channel is all about. We are the ones that are gonna motivate you to continue. All right.
yes.
You heard it here first. I just had
Yes,
to
we
put
are.
that in. All right, continue.
Sure, sure. Okay, so on the external factors, no, the cons could be cash flow, somehow as you start out doing freelance work or starting your business, cash flow can decrease, and so that can be a con. Lack of benefits, and by benefits I mean, if you are someone that's you have health care, you have paid leave, you have all these things that, your standard company would provide for you, you don't get that as a freelancer, independent consultant, or working for yourself, starting a business per se. So that can hinder a lot of people from moving forward. Taxes, if you live in the United States, or know anyone who live in the United States, taxes can be taxes can be terrible. So that deter people. Legalities, and just lack of structure can be things that deter people from moving forward.
Wow.
So
That sounds like a lot of things,
yeah,
man.
and there's plenty more, but all of these, pack into the greater theme of risk, right? Because this
Right.
is all a risk to you yourself, but also to your external, environment, or, whatever the case may be.
Yes, and even though we're, motivating you guys to get into this kind of thing, we're also being realistic, telling you
Yes,
that this isn't a bed of roses and there's risk involved. But yes, let's give these people a ray of hope. Let's get into the
yes.
benefits of living this life.
Trust me, honestly, the pros outweighs the cons, because at the end of the day, you are going to be doing something that no one else is doing, and you're building up yourself. You're extending, you're getting more exposure. So that in and of itself is so worth it at the end of the day. So you can avoid those by having a good plan and all that good stuff. But the pros now. So for you, this same friend that I spoke about earlier, you have freedom. I
Right.
think I think I speak for myself and also for a lot of people when I say that I want more freedom. And if anything that this pandemic is showing us, it's like, yeah, I definitely want more freedom. My friend, she works, 1 day a week, and they have their business, and they have freedom. They have freedom to, they're not locked into a 9 to 5 structure. They have the freedom to spend more time with their newborn baby and all that good stuff. And so that for them makes them happy. And over time, so this freedom leads
Hmm.
you into this perspective of independence. You're no
Right.
longer independent. You're no longer dependent on that paycheck from the company, from the boss, to get you through the next 2 weeks or fortnight or month or whatever. You have that independence. Eventually, you can support yourself. Um, you can control how much you work. And that also ties into
The
the freedom
freedom.
aspect.
Right.
Yeah, you
Just
can
one
control
comment.
it.
Just one comment. They say the finer things in life are free, you know, nature, good friends, all that stuff. And of course, when you have this freedom because of this lifestyle, you have more time to enjoy the finer things in life. And
Yeah,
trust me, that has a lot of benefits socially, your health, and otherwise. Trust me. People always say
yeah.
your health is your wealth as well. So, you
Health is
know,
your wealth. And for a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to travel more, picture a life where, you're continuing to work, but you can travel. You can do what you need to do. I'll give you a slice of a small slice of the pie. I was able to go to Dubai back in September of last year, and I was
wow.
still working on my freelance type work from
Wow.
Dubai, and it was great because it's like, here I am. I was there for school, right? But I was still able to do a little bit of work for the organization. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do some work, and then I'm going to go down to the beach and just enjoy the beach. So that's nice. Like, you're able
Wow.
to travel and work at the same time.
And
So,
yes, in this age of the internet and information,
mhm.
it's becoming even easier these days to do this. you know, and in some ways it is cost effective. Um,
Yes.
I was thinking of a point to say before you gave that amazing story. Um, you have to think of it as an investment
Mm.
because, um, of course, you're probably not gonna see the money right away. You have to really grind and work at it. But think of it this way: you work hard for 5 years so that you can have 15, 20, 30 years of, being more free. So
Yeah,
you have to think about things beyond the short term, you know? Think
exactly.
think of it as a long-term investment in yourself,
It
right?
is. It is.
Right
I'm
there.
so glad you said that because freedom, it's, the price you pay is a small price compared to the return on investment that you get. Because, like you're saying, you can grind really hard for 5 years and you're like, you never see the end in sight. But when you get to the end of the tunnel and you start taking part into this, like, and you can see more and more of the return on your investments, you're like, this was nothing. Like, yes, you did a lot of
Right.
work, but it was so worth it to do that.
Right.
So,
So, oh, you have more pros?
oh, wait, there's more.
All
There's
right, go
always
ahead.
more.
Let's hear it, man. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So, the last one I just kind of want to lead with for you, the last couple, I should say, is a schedule, and it ties into the workload control because with having workload control, you can control your schedule. Um, as it relates to the more external stuff, range of experience, you can broaden your portfolio. So if you're someone working in a job and you're like, you feel like your job is not giving you, what you kind of want, which is kind of where I was looking for more. So doing that freelance work, working on a board of directors gave me so much more experience that I never get a chance to do in my day job, and so in addition to that, I get to expand my network because the people that I work with in the organization that I do freelance work with, they're a completely different group of people that have different access to different things. And so the pro of, embarking on freelance work or starting your own business is you get exposed to these different people. And the final and biggest one, the biggest pro, and
Hmm.
I'm going to say this with fanfare, unlimited earning potential, and
Wow.
sorry, I just had to be dramatic. But, this is one of the main reasons why we do this. A lot of us don't have freelance work where we make as much, but the earning potential is really as much as you want it to be. You can keep going up the ladder. And so that's just the last pro that I'll leave you with, but it's definitely something that should motivate you to kind of branch out into this line of work.
Awesome, awesome. And just to add to that, a lot of these freelance industries are multi-billion dollar industries.
Yes.
And if you get a small fraction of that pie, that is still a lot just for you alone. All right. So
Yes.
yes, you're gonna have to put in the hard work to be a cut above the rest. But if you get to that point, trust me, food I will eat, as we say here in Jamaica, right? So,
Yes.
so we have been telling the people about the pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get into the meat of the matter. We need to run through how these people can manage their time, how they can structure things. All right. So
All
we're gonna
righty.
run through that right now.
So I created this workload process, kind of just to give you guys some ideas of how you can manage your work and your workload to being more productive and increase your performance. But before I do that, though, I want to talk about, entrepreneurship, the concepts of entrepreneurship, performance, and productivity. Spoiler alert, if you are someone who work a typical job, and even if you're not working a regular 9 to 5 job, but you're thinking about other things that you can do, other businesses that you can be a part of, or start up, or help out, you, my friend, are an entrepreneur. Congratulations. You have the spirit of yeah, you have a spirit of entrepreneurship, because at the core of it, entrepreneurship is creating or extracting value. And
Okay.
if you are always looking to do more and create more, you are an entrepreneur. Whether you are starting up a business, creating a business, or working as a freelancer, or you have that entrepreneurial spirit. And in that, extracting a value and creating a value, performance is the execution of an action,
Right.
but productivity is measuring how effective that action is.
Mm-hmm.
So so all of these like tie together, and it's really important to kind of keep that those
Um,
three things
hold on,
rolling
Monisha.
around
Hold
your head.
on. Hold
Yeah.
on. Can you say that bit about productivity again? I want the people to hear that one again. That probably went
I
over some of their heads, man.
Can you just tell them to just rewind the video? Because I'm just kidding. But in this creation of value, right? That is entrepreneurship. That, if you have this burning desire to do more, and to branch out, and to, be engaged, you have that entrepreneurial spirit. You're always and constantly going to be thinking about your performance, because your performance, it separates you from the competition. And
Right.
like you were saying earlier,
And you
competition.
and you say execution is performing
Right.
an act,
Right. So
and productivity measures the extent of the execution.
all right, remember we learn come again. So in this grand theme of entrepreneurship, where you're creating value, you're always going to be thinking about your level of performance, because that sets you aside from your competitors, your competition.
Right.
So in performance, it's the execution of an action, the execution of creating value, but your productivity is how you measure that performance.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
Does that make sense? So
Awesome.
it's sorry, I totally forgot. I had to just wheel and come again in my brain. But you're always thinking about this as an entrepreneur, and it's like, you want to provide the greatest value, not to say with the least effort, but with the least amount of potential burnout that you can experience,
Right.
but also setting yourself as a cut above the rest, focusing on your performance and your productivity. So that's kind of why you want to have a workload process that works for you. And so there are 3 areas in how you can kind of create this for yourself. The first one is creating SMART goals. And what I mean by that is, SMART goals is anything that's, measurable, actionable, all that stuff that you can do. So you have SMART goals in this workload process.
Hey, hold on, Monisha. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay.
Because I always tell people about the SMART goals, and of
You
course,
do?
yes, it's also mentioned. It's also mentioned in my free ebook, Prioritizing Your Business Vision. Check it out. Just send an email to the email in the description, and you can get the book. Yeah, I just had to put that in because
Of
it's
course, of
good
course.
that somebody else is now talking about, great minds think alike.
Of course.
All right, sorry about that. Continue.
No, you're fine. So that's the first part of the this mitigating or managing the workload processes. You have to establish those SMART goals, the specific, measurable, actionable, all those things. And just to kind of give you an example of what a SMART goal would be is, you know, uh, establishing a schedule routine.
Right.
So if you're gonna be working, establish a routine. Say I'm gonna be working Tuesday to Thursday, from 7 to 10. Or if you can't do 7 to 10, maybe you can say Tuesday to Thursday up to 20 hours or up to 10 hours. So you're setting a schedule or a routine in your week that can work for you, that will make you productive, and it'll work for you, basically. If you are a business owner, you might want to say, okay, I want to set a goal of having no more. Well, of course, you don't want to ever stop yourself from having as many clients as you want to have, but you also have to think about the workload too. So maybe you don't want to take on more than 2 deliverables or 2 projects or 20 clients for the week, depending on the work that you're doing. So you might want to set that goal, set a limit, and that's
Very
okay.
important.
Yeah,
Because
it's
we
okay.
mentioned the burnout from before, and
Yes.
this is one of the things that can happen when that can cause burnout. Do not bite off more than you can chew, people. All right?
Don't do
We
that.
all have our limits. So, yes, please, don't do that and burn yourself out. All right?
Exactly.
It's about efficiency at the end of the day. All right,
Absolutely. Yeah. So we talk about SMART goals. That's 1. 2 now is plan of execution. And this is keeping yourself accountable. It's like you said what you're gonna say, now actually do it.
This is one of the hardest parts.
It is. The hardest part of starting a business is starting the business.
Right.
But in this section 2 of the workload process, it's you want to maintain accountability, and that also plays into your level of performance and your productivity. So in that, I want to give you guys some examples now, like the Tuesday to Thursday example. How you can maintain accountability is, okay, after every client interaction, I'm going to email my client, give them 2 to 3 business days where I email them. That's a way to set up accountability, to set up a plan of execution, so that you're always kind of in a good momentum, and you're just keeping tabs on yourself, but also keeping tabs of who you're providing service to. Another example that I just kind of thought about earlier was maintaining a client contact list, so that you're aware of who your circle is. That's just one way that you can plan your execution, know who you're working with and what you're doing. And like I said, these are just examples, so you can actually plug things in that fit into these parts and areas that will work for you. That's the purpose of the workload. It has to work for you. If it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. Now, number 3 is clear expectations. Set reasonable deadlines. For example, follow contract standard guidelines, and just having frequent communications. This is just a few examples of that. I think I might have done that backwards, but essentially, you have to have clear expectations set between yourself, like what you can do as the business owner, as the freelancer, and then that expectation then transfers to who is maybe hiring you for that job as a freelancer and your clients. So you want to always have clear expectations between the two.
All right. Awesome. That was a
Yeah.
whole lot of information, guys. So, if you miss things at first, feel free to rewatch the video over and over again so you can get every bit of information that was said just now. Very important, especially for those who are, you know, trying to manage this kind of lifestyle. So,
Yeah,
yes, go ahead. You had more to say.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, there's always more. But wait, there's more. Yeah, there's always more. Always more to this stuff because you can talk about this stuff for hours because there's so much that goes into this. So what I want you guys to think about though is your why. Why do you want to create?
Hold on, wait.
What do you, okay.
Wow, I was just talking about that the other day,
Uh-huh.
on a podcast, and that's also mentioned in the free ebook. Look, listen, I'm not
Dude,
just
guys, get this free ebook, please.
you need to get the free ebook because you see, it's not just me alone. You have somebody here who is very experienced, who's saying the same thing. So, guys, very important. Find your why, and in the book, it details the fact that depends on what your why is. It can help to determine if you go the distance or if you give up. So
That's right.
sorry to
I,
interject you again, but it just clicked in my mind a while ago. It's like, wow, as
yeah,
I said
no,
before, great minds think alike. All right.
exactly. Great minds do think alike. And honestly, you have to think about this. So, yeah, you can have all the workload processes, how to manage it, all this stuff. But if you don't have a clear purpose or a why you are doing this, then the creation of your value, you'll lose it over time. You lose why you're trying to create value, right? So I have 5 steps. I'm kind of a list lady today. 3, 5, 7. I have 5 steps in this section that you guys can think about. Step 1 is you want to think to yourself, will this help create value? Talking about that entrepreneurship again, creating or extracting value. Will this help create value in my particular area of interest? 2, do I have the right resources? To have this why come into place. 3, did I plan accordingly? 4, will it be worth it? And 5, will there be an impact? I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. What will be the impact of creating this value? So that encapsulates the why, right? You're always thinking about what will be the impact of me doing this thing, and it goes beyond ourselves because whether it's a
Right.
business, you're touching people, whether I know that one of the episodes talked about like soap making and that business and that industry. And, you're touching people because like you're helping clients, you have real life customers. These are real life people, so it's like, what is the impact of this business on your community, on the people you call customers or clients? And that is so important. And I want to talk about just briefly about a company. We all know it. It started off really small. I think they're called the Blue Ribbon Company at one point.
Blue ribbon.
They started off really small, and it wasn't until, and they were in the news back in the 90s for a lot of racially charged things.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll tell you the name of the company, but it wasn't until they talked about the company's social responsibility, they started to figure out why they were in business. That's when their company took a turn for the better, and they were able to remake their image in the business world. This company is Nike.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
they really took a big plunge back in the 90s. And you guys can go and Google this. Like, they were really dragging. They started out as a small company, they got big, and then in getting big, they kind of forgot about the customers. They forgot about why they were in business. And now their corporate social responsibility is all about sustainability and making every single customer feel like an athlete. That's
Okay.
so it doesn't matter what body you have, where you're from, what culture you hail from, it's making you, when you wear Nike, it's making you feel like an athlete. And so they had to rediscover themselves as a company and rediscover their why. And it's important to always keep that in mind.
All right. Awesome. So, you do have a list with you yourself. Well, another list, right?
Yes, I do.
Because we have really been going through the mentality that it takes, the planning that it takes to do this. But I'm sure you have at least that's a bit more detail. You always have lists. so, so let's just go through one of those lists.
Sure. I think, yeah, now I'm probably officially going to be called the list lady. Okay, so with the last list of things, we're talking about the proposed solutions now. So earlier we talked about pros and cons. The main key takeaway from that is, really just to utilize your pros to mitigate the cons or to obliterate the cons. Because at the end of the day, it's worth it to pursue that passion, that why, and that dream. The second thing is research and consider things that are going on in the industry and how it might affect what you're working on in your freelancing work or in the business that you're starting up.
Yeah, man. So just as you said, that it just came to me that when you say research and consider key industry trends, one of the main things that you have to do when you're running a business is to be relevant,
Mhm.
right? Don't let the world leave you behind because trust me, things are happening so fast nowadays. You have to keep up. So I just have to make that point.
No, it's true. It's true. Develop a sound strategy, going back to when we talked about the workload process of SMART goals, plan of execution. The other one that I can't remember right now because my memory is so bad, but always having a sound strategy, a sound plan to work with. Develop a network of support. Support is so important to this kind of the line of work that we're talking about today.
And
Uh,
just to make a comment on this as well,
yeah.
your network determines your net worth. All right. So
Yes.
those out there who are gonna get into the business world, try and find people who are in the game already. Don't just find a bunch of other guys who are in the same boat as you who don't really know much if you're just starting. It's best to get a network of people who are actually ahead of you so that they
Hmm.
can teach you the way and help you out if needs be. So you have to be smart about who you network with and why you network with them. Have a purpose in mind.
Yeah, exactly. And to lead into that, you have to find innovative ways to market your ideas and services. This could make or break that cash flow we talked about in the pros and cons section. Whether you're increasing or decreasing in cash flow, you have to figure out a way to market your ideas and services. You also have to think about establishing a process that work, and that also ties into sound strategy. But this is a little bit different. It's how you do like daily operations almost, and what you do. And then the last key takeaway is create and drive value through performance. And like I said earlier, your performance and your productivity really will set you apart from the competition. And you really want to focus on how you can create more value, always improving, always finding things that you're learning from, to help you to be the best in your industry, in your class, in your whatever you're doing.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Just adding to that, um, the word drive really comes out to me. You have to have the drive in order to do this because
Mhm.
you can do all the research, you know, you're talking to a lot of people and you're networking and stuff like that. But if you
Mhm.
don't have the drive, you're not gonna get anywhere. If if the drive settings cannot work on a vehicle, it's not gonna go anywhere, right? The
Exactly.
engine could be working and everything, gas in the vehicle, but if the drive function is not working, it will not go forward. And of
No.
course, different people are motivated in different ways. Um, they call it what, intrinsic and extrinsic motivation.
Mhm.
And so you need to find out what motivates you or the type of motivation that fits you best.
Mm.
And, try to find a way in which you can, tap into that motivation so you can go forward. So some
Uh,
people, you know, they like talking to people and, that helps them to get motivated. And some people have strong willpower within themselves, to go
mhm.
forward. So you have to know the kind of person that you are. All right. And the business world, I always say it's not for everybody. And the reason why I say that is because it's not everybody gonna have the drive. Yes, a lot of people out there that are really smart, they're really smart, but they just prefer, something more easygoing. And there's nothing really wrong with that.
Yeah.
But, if you are that person who has the drive, we're encouraging you. Go get it. It's there it's there for the taking. And I mean, it's gonna take planning and strategy, but it is possible. All right.
Yeah.
All right. What a discussion. So much information. And this is just episode one of this
One.
series. And of course we made it a bit more general so you can get a general feel of what this is about. But of course, as it goes along, we're going to get into more details about some of the things that we discussed because, there's just so much when it comes down to topics like this. So, Monifia, Mo, Maitland, thank
Yes.
you for being here and being a co host to this new show, Mo for your Mondays. And
I
of
love it.
course, you'll be seeing more of her as we progress. Thank you for listening and taking the time out to, learn something new today. Um,
Yeah.
Manifia, can you just tell the people where they can find you on social media?
Oh, okay. Wow, we're getting official here. You can find me on Instagram or you can find me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn name is Mo Maitland, and I guess we can put it in the description.
Yes, link will be
Um,
in the description. Yes.
yeah, I can put the link. We can put the link there for you if you want to connect with me. I would love to enlarge my network of people. Always looking to do that. And you can also find me on Instagram. So we'll be sure to link those there for you guys.
All right, and you should know where to find me by now, but just in case, links will be in the description as well. And don't forget to get your free copy of my ebook, Prioritizing Your Business Vision, just send me an email and I'll send you the book. It's that simple. And feel free to talk to any of us about, taking your business to the next level. All right? Our emails, and of course, other links will be in the description. So, what a show. Thank you again, Mo, for being here.
Thank you for
And
having me.
this is it for episode 1 of Mo for Your Mondays. I hope you guys have a great day, or
Yeah.
whenever you're watching this.
Whenever you're watching this. And also stay tuned for our next episode. We'll be talking about work-life balance and work-life integration.
Yes, work-life balance and integration. Of course, things have changed during the pandemic. People are working from home more
Mm-hmm.
often. So yes, we're gonna be touching on that topic the next time. All right. So until next time, we'll see you around. Peace out.
Bye, guys.